Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Midday News on 3FM 92.7. My name is Beatrice Adu. The news is also live on Kesmi 107.1 FM and across the world at 3news.com. Coming up in the next 29 minutes. Key political actors pitch camp at Akwatia as campaigning intensifies, with latest Global Info Analytics poll projecting the NDC's Beatrice Adu as likely winner with 53% voter support. Also coming up on the program, fresh deaths recorded overnight in the communal conflict in the Bola district, with death toll increasing to 18. We are live there this afternoon with more than 12,000 women and children displaced. And much later on the program, Accra Circuit Court slaps perpetrators of the Ablekuma North constituency rerun violence with a fine of 6,000 cedis each, or in default, serve 2 years in jail. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. Now, the National Democratic Congress candidate in Akwatia, Beatrice Adu, is the likely candidate to win the Akwatia by-election. Well, that's according to the latest poll by the Global Info Analytics. The survey, conducted from the 27th to the 28th of August, with a sample of 2,050 voters across the constituency, shows Bediako leading his closest rival, Solomon K. Asumadu of the New Patriotic Party. According to the final result, Bediako commands 53% of voter support, while Asumadu trails with 47%, positioning the NDC candidate as the front-runner ahead of polling day. It also noted that undecided voters could play a decisive role, potentially reinforcing Bediako's lead or narrowing the gap in favor of Asumadu. Wisdom Safo is with our research desk. He joins me live in studio. Wisdom, first tell us what else is in this survey.
So, Beatrice, it is noteworthy that we put this into perspective. This is a shift, a dramatic shift. So earlier, Asumadu was in front with 50%, and Beatrice Adu was having 44%. So, but now the tables have turned, as you rightly mentioned. So let's center what is behind this shift. So if you look at the polls, it suggests that voters are speaking loudly with respect to developmental projects and the economy as a whole. You were there, and you spoke to some of the people, and they were trying to tell you that since the collapse of the mining, the diamond company, there has been some form of hardship. Indeed. So they are trying to find several ways to make ends meet. So these were some of the key details. So if you combine just developmental projects and the economy, it's contributing to about 57% of what will influence these voters to make a decision come September 2nd. And also, there was one thing that was interesting to me when I looked into the polls. It had to do with the sympathy votes. You remember the death of Ernest Yakumi, and how it will feed into helping the NPP clinch victory. That's the sympathy vote. But alarmingly, I was shocked to note that the sympathy vote was only contributing 4% of what will influence people to make a decision. So it wasn't playing a significant role as we assumed, or as we presumed. But, well, 4%. It might not be small, looking at how tight and close this race is.
Indeed, but I mean, if you've been to Akwatia, which was something I highlighted in my earlier report, you see the picture of Asumadu and that of the deceased.
Yes.
And so it reinforces the fact that the MPP would appreciate sympathy vote and trying to paint that picture for you.
Beatrice, do you know that they've strategically fixed the funeral date on tomorrow, that's Saturday, just 3 days ahead of the election. So it's a very strategic move by the MPP, setting the funeral date 3 days close to the elections, to the by-election. So sympathy votes, according to the poll, is 44%, but in totality, it's not as a percentage or a margin that you can discount.
Wisdom, I would want you to hold on just a little bit because we have the lead researcher with us, Musa Dankwa, Executive Director, Global Info Analytics. Good afternoon to you, sir. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good afternoon, and thank you for having me.
Quite an interesting discovery that you've made in that survey, 27th to 28th, because just a few days ago, the NPP's candidate was in the lead, as it were. Now we're seeing a different outcome. What's going on?
I think MPP is in disarray in Akwetia. They're divided, and the messaging is not penetrating through what people want to hear. As you mentioned rightly, about 57% of the respondents economy and developmental projects. That's a huge number that would sway them based on who they think can provide that solution. But more importantly, 24% of people who voted for NSCOMI in 2024 have switched their vote to NDC candidates. 24%.
Why?
We don't know why. It's a poll. We must go and find out why. But the evidence is there. Again, if you look at the first poll we did, Esmedu was 77% support in Wenchi, and NDC was 23%. Today, MPP has fallen from 77% in Wenchi, where the Punda will be held, to 49%. That is where the problem is.
So
what's going on in MPP in Wenchi, I can't tell.
You can't tell.
The data tells a story.
But I'm glad you talk about the phenol bit. Do you think that it would have a way of influencing vote? Although your survey, which ended on 28th, suggested that sympathy vote represent just about 4%. Do you think the phenol would have a way of increasing that?
It will not.
It will not.
People have moved away from emotional politics to real politics of development and economic issues.
And I just wanted to get more, before you go, more in terms of what you got from your interaction with constituents beyond what you've just told us now, what they say would influence their vote moving forward.
Look, what we've heard in the field suggests that they don't believe the MPP candidate can bring the development that they need. Akwetia has very bad roads, and the people need the roads to be fixed. Voting for opposition candidates will not help do that.
All right, thank you very much. Should we expect perhaps something maybe a day before the election, which is on Tuesday?
No, we don't believe the numbers will change materially, no.
Thank you so much, Musa Dankwa. Okay, so I want you to hold on because a member of our research team, Wisdom Safo, has a question for you.
Okay, so it is about the national mood. If you look into the polls, 45% disapprove of president's performance. Okay, while 43% approve of it. And the discontent, I don't know whether it's echoing into people shifting towards the NDC candidate, because how can people disapprove of the leading member of the party who is currently the president, and it is not having a direct correlation? I mean, they are disapproving on the national level, but they are approving on the constituency level. How is that? I'm trying to find the balance.
Very simple answer. The MPP is not backing their own candidate. Even though they disapprove Muhammad's job, they don't like the candidate MPP has given to them.
We'll have to end it here with you. Thank you so much, the Executive Director of Global Info Analytics, Musa Dankwa. Well, the survey is indeed confirming that the people there are prioritizing development and employment as their major concern going into the polls. I was earlier in the former Diamond Thriving Town, and the residents told me that they are asking for a change because years of lack of development have left them impoverished. Watch and listen to this. The sun has set here in Akwetia in the Denchembo district, and the residents here, over 30,000 of them, have had to return to their various homes. Whether or not they had jobs to do today, But that is where the district assembly, the Denchemboa district, comes in, because it is one of many institutions within the country's local governance system empowered by the laws of Ghana to champion development in various areas, district and municipal assemblies. The question still remains as to whether or not the people are getting what they deserve as citizens of Ghana. In the middle of the recently carved district of Denchemboa in the eastern region is Akwatia, a community that has enriched Ghana since 1919 because of the mining of diamonds. Akwatia, through the then Consolidated Diamonds, has given the nation over 100 million carats of diamonds. Once the diamond capital of Ghana, today it is a community in decline. Years after the fall of Ghana Consolidated Diamonds, its people say they are left with poverty, bad roads and broken promises. Challenges with the mining company means that the hundreds of people who were employed and making a living through the official mining of diamonds have had to find other means of survival: illegal mining and petty trading. Consequently, the lack of proper social amenities has made things worse. The Kuntihine of Achimwenchi, Bafo Ahenejima, is worried.
We don't even vote on issues. That is what I would say. Per what I've seen, mostly don't vote on issues, but we look at sometimes the personality. But I would say, all politicians, they will promise heaven, and forgetting that they do not control the budget. A living condition is a bit expensive here, being a mining area.
He wants things to change.
Nobody will want to live here when at the end of early morning we're thinking about what to feed his or family. So I believe that if we are able to create avenues for our people, they all want to live in their communities. And I believe if there are job and opportunities here, no one will want to go and live in containers, ghettos and others, while there are accommodation in their villages.
The people of Akwatia say they are impoverished from bad roads and inadequate health and educational facilities. It appears that they are being ripped off year after year and election after election.
We need development around. Our roads are not good. We don't have any good infrastructure around, so we need them to come and help us.
My problem is, kwena enamuso no toprema e free toprema kwa so kosi adwunase kwa no enye nti boadu ha se kwa toprema no ensuo to a ye brewa ha.
So the road is very bad. Your main concern is the road.
Yeah, the road is bad.
From Bodu to a Plama road, please, no good. If MP come, make it come help, I'm finished.
I met the district chief executive for Denchemboa, Umar Ahmed Tutu, who seems to want to make things work.
Basically, the moment you enter the districts, you realize most of our roads are not good. We have adjoining districts. We have Asamekesi, we have Kede. These two districts are giving us competition. So our roads are not good. You look at our health facilities, especially our CHIP centers. We are lagging behind most of these CHIP centers. You go to most of our educational institutions too, the furnitures that we need to help the students have access to education is also lacking. And most especially, sanitation, that is one of the serious aspects that is taking much of my time, which I hope with this government's resetting agenda, I will be able to take good steps to curb these sanitation issues in Denchemboa district.
Another election beckons for the people of Akwatia, and already the police have retrieved weapons ostensibly to perpetrate violence and intimidate voters. The big question is, should by-elections continue to be held? And that was a report I filed earlier from Akwatia in the eastern region, and I'm sure you know that it's just 4 days to the elections scheduled for the 2nd of September 2025. Still on this, key political actors have stormed the constituency to canvass for support for their respective candidate. The General Secretary of the New Patriotic Party, Justin Kodia Frimpong, has been urging the people of Akwatia to vote for the parliamentary candidate, Solomon Sumadu, justifying that he has the knowledge and expertise to contribute meaningfully to mining policies in Parliament. He made the remarks during a vigil night held at Wenchi in honor of the late Member of Parliament, Ernest Komi.
Now, Bano, I tell you, I'm 13,000. What is your for? Yes, I'm a Solomon. And the copy I saw poor Pia, 7 minus woman, about £1,000. Now, South Bakuna, or other parts of the Silver Gold ball. Thank you. Every gold woman, that gold born man. Openia, Ryan, your truck, Guamas, that gold born man, Savoyan, or Kaudi. And then the man is more black, Savoyan of the Soviet or Kaudi, and as our gold born, no, Abaya. Sandy Power, dear to my dear. Sandy Power, dear to my dear.
And you have the General Secretary of the Opposition NPP, Justin Kodia Frimpong. We'll be going to Akwatia very shortly to bring you the latest as regards the atmosphere there. But the National Chairman of the NDC, Johnson Asiedu Nkatia, has also called on the people there to vote massively for the party's candidate, Bernard Baidu, to enable him partner President Mahama to deliver the reset agenda. He spoke at a rally. And you heard the chairman of the governing National Democratic Congress, Johnson Asiedu Nkatia. Yvonne Nekwe is a woman following this for us. She's currently in Wenchi, the hometown of the late MP, where a one-week observation of his passing is underway. Yvonne, what can you tell us?
Well, Beatrice, as I speak to you, the former president of the country, Nana Akufo-Addo, and the former vice president, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, has led the minority caucus in Parliament and a host of delegations to start, as it were, the one-week observation of the deceased MP. They haven't yet made any statement, but largely the outpour of the numbers from their side and the residents of this area, Wenchi especially, could tell you people in pain and anguish after losing their own in Parliament months ago.
What else can you tell us as regards the general atmosphere with just a few days to the election in Akwatia?
Well, the general atmosphere is heating up, especially between the two sides, the NPP and the NDC. Like you just played, the NDC is being led by their national chairman in the constituency. The NPP is also being led by the national executive here. Both sides moving into the communities, as it were, doing their own lobbying, hoping that they win this election. We do know that by the figures we have, it's a close contest, and nobody can speak about a clear-cut winner as we speak. And so, until the battle is over on September 2, they would still have to ensure that they are going on lobbying people. But most importantly, for the peace of this constituent, exactly what we are seeing, a huge number of police presence here, and every point in the community they're moving with their advance, ensuring that if anything happens, they're able to manage it quickly, not to ensure that it overwhelms them.
Indeed, excellent. Thank you very much, Yvonne Nekwe. She's a correspondent in the Eastern region. And still on this, the National Peace Council has also issued a statement calling for calm ahead of the Akwatia by-election. I read a bit of that to you, and it says that the National Peace Council, having engaged the leadership of the National Democratic Congress, the New Patriotic Party, the Ghana Police Service, and the Electoral Commission on recent by-elections, convey the assurance to the Ghanaian public that the Akwatia by-election on 2nd September is anticipated to be peaceful. Given these assurances and the commitment of the leadership of the political parties, the Ghana Police Service and Electoral Commission to peace before, during and after the polls, the National Peace Council further encourages all stakeholders, particularly the two main contesting political parties, the NDC and the NPP, to ensure that the peace and security of Akwatia and the country in general is not compromised. The National Peace Council calls on the parties to avoid the use of macho men and politically affiliated vigilantes, reminding them of the dire consequences of imprisonment under the Vigilantism and Related Offences Act 2019. I will just jump to the point 5 of that statement coming from the National Peace Council, and it says, since democratic elections have come to stay as the means of selecting our leaders, the onus lies on every citizen, and particularly the electorate and parties contesting the Akwatia constituency by-election, to continue working together to jealously guard our democracy and build on lessons from past experiences to improve future elections. The statement goes on to commend the court for prosecuting the individuals who attacked Hawa Kumsin in the Ablekuma North constituency election rerun, as well as expresses concern about what's happening in the Solar Kaba constituency in the Savannah region. Let's go to the courts now. Here in Accra, the Circuit Court, presided over by Isaac Adu, has sentenced 8 individuals who were involved in offensive conduct during the Ablekuma North parliamentary election rerun to 500 penalty units, that's 6,000 cities, or in default of 24 months imprisonment. The 8, Muhammad Abubakar, 32, and 7 others, all pleaded guilty to 4 counts of assault and were convicted of their pleas. In his sentencing, the presiding judge noted that he had taken notice of the fact that the convicts were remorseful and didn't waste the court's time. Lawyers for the accused persons described the decision of the court as a win, since their clients were only defending themselves. Let's hear him, and then we'll go to Lord Edward Sari to bring us the latest.
This victory is a win for democracy. So this victory shows that our judicial system is one that we can trust and rely upon. This goes to show that these are people victims of circumstances. And some people who have not committed offense, for you to hold them as such as people who are criminals, no, but these are people who were trying to help a procedure that we all did not understand them.
Yeah. So there was a person of interest, essentially, the individual who was seen flying to attack the former minister.
No, I disagree with you. The person did not fly to attack, but defend himself. That's why I'm saying that these are people that did not understand the circumstance. You understand? So they were trying to defend themselves against someone who was holding a weapon. Understand? So these are people who do they don't want to even go through the process of going to court and trying to convince people that they are not guilty or not. So
let's speak to Lord Adu Asare. He's our court affairs correspondent. Lord, what more can you tell us beyond what we just heard?
Right, so Beatrice, the 8 persons who now the convicts who have now been sentenced, the judge further admonished them to be advocates against electoral violence. The judge indicated that electoral violence has the propensity to destroy a country, and so everyone frowns on that. And the reason he gave them that fine, hoping that it will be retributive, and then that will be their pathway to reform. And so, as it stands now, they just signed off their documents to meet and pay the fines. And so, a short while ago, I saw them disperse and leave the premises. But the background is that there were 3 complainants. First of them was the former Fisheries Minister, Hawa Hussein. They reported the matter to the police after they were assaulted during the Ablekuma North parliamentary rerun. We saw videos of that which went viral. Now, they indicated that they were assaulted. Security persons came to their rescue, but that did not save them enough because they were taken to the hospital, and then they were given the medical reports for which they added to their statement of case. Now, I must add that there were 4 counts of assault, which is 4 counts of assault, which is leveled against the 8 persons, and then the fine was 500 penalty units or 6,000 cedis each for each of the 4 counts. But the order was that they were running concurrently, and that's how we arrived at the 6,000 cedi penalty units. Now, the judge also added that if they fail to make that payment, defaults will lead to a 2-year imprisonment, Beatrice.
Thank you very much, Lord Adu Asare. He's our court affairs correspondent. Now, the death toll in the communal conflict in the Sola and Bola district of the Savannah region has jumped to 18. That's according to the National Disaster Management Organization. Over 12,000 women and children have since been displaced. The violence, which began on Sunday, the 24th of August, over a parcel of land, initially claimed 5 lives, with several others injured. Now, despite heavy and military police deployment to quell the violence, the conflict has rather spread to adjoining communities and resulted in more casualties. We'll be bringing you more of this in our subsequent bulletins, but let's hear the NADMO representative speaking to our colleague earlier.
It's difficult to even talk about some of these things. As of yesterday evening, per my briefings from my district director, they have 8 persons that were killed yesterday. 5 from the Chanchere area in the Bola district, and then we have about 3 around the Mankuma area. So it's not good, but we have a lot of unconfirmed death situation, but officially I can confirm that we've had 8 yesterday, 5 from the Chanchere area, and some 3 around the Mankuma area.
So in total, how many deaths are we talking about?
In total, for now, officially, we are talking about 17, 18.
And you had the Savannah NADMO representative speaking to our colleague Christopher Amwakon. We head to the Ashanti region because the Health Minister Kwabena Minta-Kando is currently on an inspection tour of major health facilities in the Western North region. The objective is to assess the quality of health care service being delivered to the people and also assess challenges facing these facilities. William Evans Inkum is with the Health Minister. He joins us live on the phone. William, we understand this is an unannounced visit. Just tell us more.
Well, Beatrice, yes. So the Sector Minister of Health has been embarking on an unannounced visit to some facilities or health facilities within the North or Western North region. Our first port of call was at the Bibian Government Hospital, where he interacted with patients, especially just to understand whether the expectations are being met as far as health delivery in that particular facility is concerned. So there have been some exchanges. But, I mean, by and large, it has been on the affirmative as far as the expectation and the kind of delivery being given to them is concerned. Of course, he also held a closed-door meeting with the management just to let them understand some of the few points or things that he also picked up as far as his round is concerned. One has to do with one concern that was raised by a patient that has to do a public place of convenience. She was actually looking for a standard one, not that they don't have, but those ones are inbuilt one. I'm talking about those in the wards. But the public place of convenience is what that patient was talking about. Beyond that, he also had some interaction with nurses there, and one major issue that came up has to do with the issue of unpaid nurses and all of that. I mean, majority of them, as the BBNA government hospital, have still not received their pay, but the health minister gave an assurance. One has to do with the fact that they've done some migration.
I'm sorry, William, we'll have to continue this later. Thank you so much for joining us on the Midday News today on Shri FM 92.7. My name is Beatrice Adu. Log on to ShriNews.com for more news. Coming up shortly is Business Daily with Michael Obudu. Don't go away.
Radio station.
Hello there, good afternoon. Welcome to Business Daily here on 3FM 92.7 with me, Michael Obudu. Coming up, Ghana Association of Bank calls for legal reform to support local cocoa financing. We'll hear from its Chief Executive Officer, John Ehua.
Now, as we speak, they are already over here with Cocoa Board. So the room to accommodate any more exposures on Cocoa Board is very limited.
Also, government moves to ease fuel import delays through establishment of second conventional buoy mooring. We hear from Sector Minister John Abdullahi Jinapo.
I get inundated with issues of liquor, and that's why, together with the MPA and other stakeholders, we want to have a second mooring system.
Details of these and many other stories coming up shortly. Please don't go anywhere. Thank you so much for your time. Straight into our top story. And the Ghana Association of Banks is calling for a review of the country's banking laws to allow financial institutions to jointly finance cocoa loans. An intervention, it says, is critical to boosting Ghana's foreign exchange reserves. The following report has the details.
Under current regulations, banks are restricted in the amount of debt they can extend to a single entity, a measure designed to mitigate risks. However, the association argues that this limitation prevents banks from pooling resources to support large-scale cocoa financing despite the sector's strategic importance.
Now, as we speak, they are already over here with Cocoa Board. So the room to accommodate any more exposures on Cocoa Board is very limited. The only way to do that is for somebody to say, we have opened a lot more room for you. And they will be happy to. And if the credit structure is self-liquidating properly, then the banks will be up and doing to support cocoa.
Cocoa remains Ghana's top export earner, and timely financing is essential for purchasing beans during the crop season. Delays in securing syndicated loans have, in recent years, affected the country's forex inflows and weakened the cedi. The association says it is engaging regulators and policymakers to explore legal amendments that will enable structured collaboration among banks while maintaining prudent lending standards.
It's the number one foreign exchange earner. Why don't we give it that which it needs instead of going to borrow dollars and then we earn the dollars and use it to pay off dollars? Then we use cedis to buy cocoa, then we get the dollars, we use the dollars to support our foreign reserves. Then it stays with us to support whatever importation currency support programs that the central bank would want to pursue. So I am all for local funding of the cocoa business, except that certain things must give way to enable the banks to play the role they have to play.
That was the CEO of the Ghana Association of Banks, Johnny Was, speaking there. Now, as the Bank of Ghana prepares to introduce Islamic banking, also known as non-traditional banking and finance, the National Banking College says it will roll out specialized training programs to equip professionals in the sector. The central bank has been exploring the new banking model as an alternative funding model to help address Ghana's high cost of borrowing. Speaking to 3 Business on the sidelines of the college's 30th anniversary and annual general meeting, Principal Gloria Darlene Quarte said the institution is taking proactive steps to support the transition.
If you have listened to the governor of the Bank of Ghana, it is one of the areas that the central bank is actually looking at. And so we won't wait for it to start in full before we begin looking in that direction. And so, yes, we are looking at Islamic banking. We are doing our research and putting our works together. And hopefully from next year, we will begin to bring that knowledge also to our banks. Because as you know, most of our banks, in fact, all our banks, nobody is into Islamic banking at this point in time. And so we are just moving in tandem with the vision and the vision of the governor of the central bank, and that's exactly what we are doing. So we intend to move into that space in terms of training from next year going forward.
That was the voice of Principal Gloria Darlene Quarte of the National Banking College. Now, the Bank of Ghana on Thursday set the price of its 1-ounce gold coin at 39,273.6 Ghana cedis, reflecting movements in global bullion benchmarks and the cedi dollar exchange rate. Half-ounce and quarter-ounce coins were priced at 19,985.24 Ghana cedis and 10,363.84 Ghana cedis, respectively, according to the central bank's daily bulletin. The pricing was based on the London Bullion Market Association's previous day PM fix of $3,376.35 per ounce and Bloomberg cedi dollar exchange rate of 11.15 Ghana cedis. Now, the Minister for Energy and Green Transition, John Jinapor, says the government is working to establish a second conventional buoy mooring CBN system to address persistent delays in clearing petroleum products at the ports. The move, he says, will significantly ease congestion and improve turnaround times for bulk oil imports.
His comments follow concerns raised by the Chamber of Bulk Oil Distributors, which warned that disruptions of Ghana's Lacon import schedule have cost industry players over $40 million in the first half of the year alone. The delays, according to the Chamber, contribute up to 60 pesos to the cost build-up of fuel. Speaking at an event organized by the National Petroleum Authority, Mr. Jinapor said lessons from the petroleum sector would be applied to strengthen Ghana's power sector.
I'm learning a lot of lessons from the petroleum sector, and I've made a lot of position papers to cabinet. The petroleum sector, in my opinion, despite the challenges, seem to be doing better than the power sector. So the question is, what is the petroleum sector doing that the power sector is not doing? So we can learn. And also, what are the few issues in the petroleum sector that we can enhance? One of the key issues has to do with Lacon allocation. I get inundated with issues of Lacon. And that's why, together with the MPA and other stakeholders, we want to have a second mooring system. Once we have that, issues of Lacons are over. So one of the ways to deal with such challenges is to address the root cause, and we've been working around the clock to address those issues.
So you heard there John Jinapo, Minister for Energy and Green Transition, bringing an end to Business Daily here on 3FM 92.7. For more business stories, please visit our website. It's 3news.com/business. I am Michael Obodu. Thank you for listening. As always, please stay safe.